He was just 6 years old, playing outside, laughing, a warm August breeze brushing through his hair. 5 minutes later, he was gone. No witnesses, no footprints, no sound, just silence. For 30 years, his mother's been searching. Now, a disturbing discovery, buried in an abandoned attic, has reignited this case. And what investigators found inside might mean Danny wasn't the only one. Danny was just the beginning. Who took him? Why has no one come forward? And most chilling of all, is the person responsible still out there, watching? Stay with us till the end of this story. Hit like, share, and turn on notifications if you love true crime stories that uncover the darkest secrets hidden in plain sight. Because this is one case you'll never forget. The year was 1989. Margaret Lane was a single mother of two, raising her boys in a quiet Midwestern town where everyone knew everyone. She worked double shifts at the diner, clipping coupons to keep food on the table. Life wasn't easy, but her love for her kids was fierce. Danny, her youngest, was her sunshine. A curious, adventurous little boy who loved dinosaurs and mud puddles. That evening, on August 3rd, Danny was playing in the front yard. Margaret stepped inside for just a moment, maybe 5 minutes, maybe less. When she returned, the yard was empty. His bike was still there, his shoes were still there, but Danny was gone. Margaret tore through the yard, screaming his name until her voice cracked. Neighbors joined in. Police were called. The town went on high alert. But that night, no one found a single trace of him. The disappearance rocked the small town. Within 24 hours, search parties were formed. Volunteers with flashlights scoured woods and cornfields. Helicopters swept over abandoned barns. Police dogs tracked scents that went cold within a few yards of the street. There was no blood, no sign of a struggle, no tire tracks. It was as if Danny had vanished into thin air. News crews arrived. The entire state was watching. Margaret's tearful pleas for her son's return played on repeat. But after 2 weeks, leads dried up. After 2 months, the media moved on. And after 6 months, the case went cold. Margaret never stopped searching. She papered telephone poles with missing posters until they curled and yellowed. She spent her meager savings on private investigators who always came back with nothing. Her desperation turned into obsession. She drove back roads late at night, broke into abandoned homes, peered through boarded-up windows, whispering his name. She was consumed by a single question. Where is my son? But obsession came with a cost. Friends drifted away. Neighbors avoided eye contact. Even the police grew tired of her calls. Some began whispering dark rumors, like, maybe she knows more than she's saying. Why'd she leave him alone? Margaret was no longer seen as the grieving mother. She was that woman. 10 years passed. On the anniversary of Danny's disappearance, Margaret was alone in her small apartment when an envelope slid through her mail slot. No return address, no markings. Inside, a single piece of paper. In messy handwriting, it read, "Danny's alive. Stop looking." No signature, no explanation, just those chilling words. Margaret rushed to the police, hands trembling, but the letter was a dead end. No fingerprints, no DNA. Some officers thought it was a cruel prank, but Margaret refused to believe that. Because for the first time in 10 years, she had hope. The letter reignited her search. She dove back into old police files, newspaper archives, anything she could find. And that's when she noticed something horrifying. Danny wasn't the only child who'd vanished. Over the past 12 years, 3 young boys had disappeared from neighboring towns, all under the age of 10, all cases unsolved, all eerily similar. Margaret brought her discovery to the police, but they dismissed it. They said, "Coincidence. We can't reopen cold cases on speculation." But Margaret couldn't shake the feeling that someone was out there, watching, waiting. Then, one late night, digging through a dusty box in her attic, Margaret found an old photo album. Inside, a Polaroid of Danny playing in their yard, the day he vanished. She stared at his smile, her heart aching. But then she saw something. In the far corner of the frame, blurred but visible, stood a man, watching. She hadn't noticed him before. When she took the photo, she thought nothing of it. And back in 1989, the police brushed it off as probably a neighbor. But this wasn't a neighbor. She didn't recognize him. And he wasn't just passing by. He was staring right at Danny. Modern investigators used enhancement software on the photo. What they found was chilling. The man was holding something. Not a toy, not a bag. A camera. Investigators dug through old records and finally identified him. His name was Earl Whitman, a drifter, a loner, arrested multiple times for theft and one disturbing charge of child endangerment, dismissed for lack of evidence. But here's the twist. Earl Whitman died in 1993, and his death was ruled a suicide. Investigators tracked down Earl's last known residence. It was abandoned, rotting, but in the attic, hidden beneath a false floor, they found a locked trunk. Inside were dozens of photographs. Children, taken from a distance, some on bikes, some walking home. And there, among the photos, was Danny. The police had finally found a connection. But this wasn't the end of the nightmare, because under the floorboards they found something else. A cassette tape. Danny was just the beginning. 30 years after Danny disappeared, a chilling new lead has surfaced. Who was Earl Whitman really working with? Could Danny still be alive? And if Earl is dead, who sent that letter? This case isn't just a mystery, it's a warning. Feel free to drop your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think a network kidnapped Danny? Or is this all the twisted work of one man? We're just getting started. Stay tuned for part 2, where this story takes a dark and unexpected turn. Make sure you've liked, shared, and turned on notifications if you love true crime stories that uncover the darkest secrets hidden in plain sight. Because this we'll never forget.